it. It's a good cat. Okay, everyone, welcome to the very first ever mission update, a wild newsletter where we bring the news from the wild and give it to you. We've got 10 items to talk about, and we've got 10 minutes, so let's get cracking. First off, the mission. Let's talk about the mission again. The mission for all of us is to inspire the local wild heroes within our communities and within ourselves to help be the difference maker moving forward for ending extinction. The government and legislation, they can do about 70% of the work, but the point is, it's that little bit, the important bit that's within all of us that we have to unleash, and I'm going to show you how. First off, here we have a mission for an upcoming species I'm highlighting in our next episode, sharks. Let's see, we explore. How can we explore the wilderness? We can do it by scuba diving. How do we inspire those around us? We get rid of fear. How do we rebuild? We can coral restoration. How do we protect? We could be better grocers at the grocery store. There's tons of hidden shark meat out there that we just don't know. And how do we coexist? Well, we've got to. Without any sharks, we lose the ocean life that so much of this planet is dependent on. But that about wraps it up for that minute. Like I said, 10 items, 10 minutes. We have to be quick. Anything we don't get covered or I want to come back to, we're going to save for overtime. But next, local weather. Local somewhere. This is weather I took from the Time and Date Company.com, found on the internet. Anyways, these are all averages from the past week. So here we have headquarters. That's here in Central Florida. Headquarters today was a 27 degrees Celsius. Calgary, my hometown, was 10 degrees Celsius. Yes, I'm using Celsius. It's what I was grown up using. It's what a lot of the planet uses, so we're going to stick with that. For you Fahrenheit folks, I'll drop a little formula I can do it. It's double, subtract 10%, add 32. Easy. Anyway, moving on. Cairo, over in Egypt, you got 27 degrees Celsius, and you got sun. McMurdo Station, down in Antarctica, you got 0 degrees. I didn't put down the weather, but I imagine it's sunny and snowy as you guys are starting to see the sunlight more and more. You see that we're in a change of autumn right now here up north, but down south they're going through their own change as well in the southern hemisphere. Jack, you're going to have to be with me, everyone. Meet Jack. All right, so next we have Nunavut. Nunavut is the northernmost area of Canada, basically the North Pole. And up there they're having great temperatures at minus 15 degrees Celsius, low at 20 degrees Celsius. They're getting partial sun, a lot of clouds, a little snow. Sydney, Australia, 32 degrees Celsius. Lots of thunderstorm activity. You guys are coming in the wet season. Of course, you're getting some sun as well. Honolulu, middle of the Pacific. You guys get 26 degrees Celsius. You get some rain and partial sun. Georgetown, Ascension Island, middle of the ocean as well, middle of the southern Atlantic. You guys are getting 25 degrees Celsius. You guys are a very tropical area, so you're getting a lot of sun and a lot of rain. Moscow, over in Russia. You guys are sitting at 0 degrees Celsius, same as Antarctica. Isn't that crazy? You guys gain a lot of crowd and a lot of cloud and a lot of partial sunlight. Pardon me, trying to speak fast, we stumble up here. All right, Shad, middle of Africa, middle of the desert. You guys are getting nothing but sun and heat. You guys are sitting at 36 degrees Celsius. Port-au-Prince, which is the southern French territory, is way down in the Southern Ocean. You guys are getting 9 degrees Celsius, you know, above freezing, but you guys are getting nothing but rain. And then good old Christmas Island, another remote tropical island. You guys are seeing sunny, 26 degrees Celsius and a lot of rain. What do you say, Jack? And we're gonna jump ahead. We're gonna go straight down to our first critter highlight. Part of this newsletter, every time we're gonna highlight some critters, and of course, first up, I gotta highlight my own. I got you some hints here that we're gonna go over every week. The first hint, well, for the second animal, he's young, he's perfect, he's got a lot of stripes. This is Jack. Jack is my baby tiger. He came home with me just a couple weeks ago. I needed something a little bit more cuddly, a little bit smaller than the other critter we're gonna highlight later. Here, there you go, I'm sorry. Good kitty, good kitty. Okay, where are we? Business highlight. Every newsletter, we're gonna highlight a different business. But since this is the first one and I'm kind of late on time, we're just doing an overview of most of it. Bye, Jack. We got the bad news, of course. In the world we live in, there is lots of bad news out there, so I'm going to pick a headline that I see, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about where the hope can be found. You know, our mission is power through positivity, and we're going to see how we can change some of the current actions going on at home and within ourselves. Moving on, we have a HIPPO highlight, and if you haven't figured out what HIPPO is yet, it's a strategy I've used, coined by American biologists in a book I read, The Future of Life. And HIPPO is a 5-letter acronym, standing for Habitat, Invasive, Pollution, Poaching, and Overharvesting. And I take down those 5 different things, I break it down to my columns. The X, what's the issue? The question mark, why is the issue happening? The check mark, what's our new solution? And the star, what can the hero do in all of us if we want to take it that a little bit further to removing the issue entirely. Again, this is just an overview. We're going to get some more examples as we get our updates going. Book club, of course, talking about HIPPO. First book is The Future of Life by E.O. Wilson. It's within here you can find the breakdown for the HIPPO acronym really simply, but also talks about all the different adversities the planet is facing and the importance of biodiversity. It's a great read. I really suggest checking it out. And then moving on, again, we have some more headlines, such as the COP meeting, where all the world's leaders this past week came together for the environment. And there's a bunch of big news coming out of there. We're going to dive into that, I'm sure. And another one I'd like to say is today is November 15th. And November 15th is International Steve Irwin Day. It is a very important day. Sorry, mosquito, get out of here. And that man was a legend in my own life and for so many others. He was an inspiration. So Steve Irwin and his family, you guys are truly the best, and I thank you so much for everything that you've done and continue to do. You guys, as your shirts say, are really some wildlife warriors, and you help inspire the wild hero within me. Anyway, moving on. Critter highlight, second critter highlight of the day. This critter, he's the bestest, he's the cutest, and he likes to slobber. Can you guess who it is? Come here. There he is. Here's our next critter, Jameson. He's brought his ball, of course. Jameson has been my adventure pal for the past couple years. There's not many places I go where he isn't attached with me at the hip. If you haven't seen our latest episode, The Sunshine Line, definitely do that for his smiling face is in it. All right, you, get out of here. And then what do we have next? Question and answer. Question and answer is basically if you guys have something out there that you want me to dive into and figure out, or if you guys just have something that's been rattling out on your brain, if you have a question about how you can get started in your own community, if you're having issues with the wild hero within you, reach out and I will answer it. So last week's question is, what is Q&A? Basically that. And then finally, a wild task. The wild task is something that I'd ask of you guys to do in your home and in your communities and in your daily lives to help, further our mission and help continue to remove extinction, man-made extinction from the planet. And for this one, I have community detective, and how you can do that is I'd ask you guys this next week, whenever you have time, have a meal outdoors. It's a great way to see the local wildlife around you and get reconnected with the natural world that is so vital to our survival. And along that, this is where there's a bit of a catch-22. A lot of people go on the outdoor picnics and they pick up convenient snacks and sandwiches on their way out that are wrapped in single-use plastics, or they come in single-use beverage containers and whatnot. If you do that, I get it. Maybe you could find a reusable thing, but let's please make sure that trash hits the bin on your way out. Pollution is sickness, but litter is laziness. Let's start with the litter problem, and then we'll move on to pollution. But anyway, that's it. That's all. We have reached end of our time here. So next, we're going to go back into overtime and talk about some other things. The mission, again, this is really what it's all about. I have broken it down, but let's just talk about the words themselves and not necessarily how it pertains to sharks. First off, to explore. That means to get back out there. or it's continuing to go out and see all the things around us. We are so sucked into our phones these days that we really need to take the time to put down the electronics, disconnect, turn off, unplug, and get out there, because only from having those moments way out in the middle of nowhere can you really feel the wild hero within you. And I think that's the best way to inspire yourself. And speaking of inspire, once you found that wild hero within you, we got to find it within everyone else. The wild heroes are different in that we don't scream about the problems, we cheer for hope, we cheer about solutions. No more frustration about the past, but happiness about the potential of the future. And then moving on, rebuild, that goes into that about the future. Humanity for the past couple decades and even centuries have done nothing but take and take from the natural areas around us. So I really believe we can now start taking what we've learned and our building capabilities and start building a human society with natural elements, more natural elements, so that the animals around us, also dependent on this great earth, can have the chances they need to survive. And then protect, we've got to be the ones creating the unseen shield for the unseen animals. A lot of people love to cheer about their favorite animals, as say the polar bear, as they start to decline. But the polar bear is just an indicator species of a much larger food chain, a much larger biodiversity, and we have to protect it all. Every brick builds up the giant web, the giant structure that is the natural world, and coexist. Well, that's just learning to get along with nature, learning that we have to put in some effort to give back. And it's really simple. It's a lot simpler than we think, and we're definitely going to dive into it more and more. Anyways, that's the newsletter for this week. We have plenty more to cover in the coming updates, but get out there, stay wild.